Today we're making a pumpkin nutcracker that'll look perfect in your Halloween decorations. This pumpkin nutcracker is almost 7 feet tall and is rated for indoor and outdoor use. So join me for this awesome tutorial. To begin making our nutcracker, we need to cut plywood, we need to cut wood, we need to cut PVC. Let's cut it at the beginning so it's easier for us as we build it. So we're going to need 2 pieces of 2 by 4 by 8 feet long. Just 2 pieces. Once you get it, let's start cutting it. We're going to cut it into 2 individual pieces at 16 inches. Then cut 2 more pieces at 21 inches. And lastly, cut 4 pieces at 24 inches long. Then we move on to the PVC. This PVC isn't the regular PVC. This is sewer and drain pipe. It is thinner and lightweight. I prefer it. So make sure you get the sewer and drain PVC pipe, not the regular Schedule 40 PVC. We need to get the 4-inch diameter one, and we need to make sure we buy a piece that is 10 feet long. So 4-inch diameter by 10 feet long. Then we're going to cut 4 pieces at 24 inches long. So once you're done, cut these into 4 pieces. Lastly, we need plywood. Now this is for the base. The base needs to be 24 inches by 24 inches. They sell pre-cut plywood squares at Lowe's and Home Depot, but at 17-18 bucks, I think it's kind of pricey. So I just bought a sheet of plywood and I've cut it to 24 inches by 24 inches. Now I use a lot of plywood here, so I'm just going to use the remainder of it. But if you don't want to go through all the cutting and the hassle, just get yourself a square of plywood. And once we have that, then we can start building the base of our nutcracker. I wanted to take a moment to share with you all the newest children's book I've written. It's called Oliver and the Lost Flame, and it's a Halloween story based on a young pumpkin named Oliver and his quest to save his town after their enchanted flame was snuffed out, leaving the town of Pumpkin Patch in disarray and afraid. This book is rated for children 3 to 10 years old, and it's available on Amazon via paperback. The book is also available internationally and has been printed in English, Spanish, and French. So if anyone wants to support me or read it to their kiddos, go check it out. Alright, so I found an old piece of plywood. I cut it 24 inches by 24 inches. And this is going to be the base. So we're going to get one that's 24 inches. It's going to go like this. Another that's 24 inches like this. And then our 21-inch pieces of wood that we cut are going to go just like this. So we're going to screw these woods together. Just use 3-inch screws. Screw them, put 2 screws here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. And then we can turn it around and we can screw the plywood to the actual wood pieces. Because remember, this is upside down right now. We need to flip it on its other side so that we can get the pieces of plywood to be on the top so we can get the nutcracker legs attached to it. So let's go on and screw everything together. And this is what it should look like once we've screwed it in. As you can see, pretty sturdy. We put 2 screws on all the sides. We're good to go. Next, we're going to grab our piece of plywood, which is 24 inches by 24 inches. We're going to put it like that, and we're going to screw it right over here. And then after that, we can actually put the 2x4s that we cut, which are also 24 inches. We're going to screw them up over here. But let me show you a quick, simple trick. You have this like that, and then we grab the PVC and we put it over. We do the same thing to the next one, just like this. And you want to put them about 1 inch apart, like that. Then we're going to grab a pencil or a marker and we're going to draw a circle around it so that when we remove this, we know exactly where these 2x4s need to be screwed. We're going to screw it from the bottom, okay? Okay, so I hope you can see the circles we drew. That's so that we can have a reference point. We're going to get our drill and our little pre-drill tip, and I also outlined where the wood is going to go. I hope you can see it. I made the little 2x4 outline right there. So we need 2 screws. Right there. That way, we can turn this over and we know exactly where the screws need to go so that we can attach these just like that. So I've got my little helper over here. Thanks for helping. And just get somebody else to hold the leg. This is the leg. And as you can see right over here, it's right where we drew the circle and the outline. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my drill and I'm going to drill from this side. We're going to do the 2 screws and that way we're ready to go. And this is what we have afterwards. We have the 2x4s. And I know I had said previously to attach the board first to this, but it's easier this way I feel, but you could have done it attaching it to the square first, but now we can drill it to the top of the square. And just like that, we put the PVC over it. For the torso and the face, we're going to be using a Sono tube. These concrete form tubes can be found at any hardware store. These are 12 inches in diameter by 4 feet long. We're going to coat this with a protector if we're going to keep it outside. If you're going to keep it inside or in a place where it won't get wet, just use regular paint. But I like to keep my props outside, so we're going to waterproof it using something called dry lock. We're going to use 2 coats of dry lock. We're going to do 1 coat, let it dry, 2nd coat, let it dry. Then we're going to use whatever paint we want to color this amazing creation. Next, we need this pre-cut circle that they sell at the hardware store. I don't paint them, but this is going to go on top of the legs and the Sono tube is going to rest on top of this. All right, so before we screw our pre-cut circle on top of the legs, we need to get the remaining 2 pieces of 2x4. Now these are the 16-inch pieces. What we want to do is we want to do this. Put them on opposite ends of each other. And you want to measure 1/2 inch from the edge to the wood. Once you measure 1/2 inch, we're going to grab our pencil, mark it out really quickly. Now you know where the wood's going to go. We're going to get our drill again. We're going to drill 2 holes right there. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with the legs. We're going to drill from the bottom. And we're going to attach it like this. This is so when we put the Sono tube on top, we can actually drill from the Sono tube into the sides to provide stability so that it doesn't topple over. So what I did is I aligned it down here and then I hold it up like that. I get my screw. This one here is a one-man job. And bam, we got the first one in. Now let's do the second one. All right, this is what it should look like. We're going to put it up top like this. We're going to center it, make sure that it looks centered. Remember, these are the 2 legs, so this should go on the side just like that. This is where the arms are going to go. And we're going to screw it down into the wood that's in here, right? Screw it down, and then we can put the Sono tube on top. And now that it's attached, we just slide the Sono tube on top. So we haven't painted it, we haven't designed anything, but that's fine. We just want to make sure that the structure is ready for the actual elements that are going to go on top. But this is going great. It's super simple. We have been working on this for less than an hour. It's a super quick process once you get going. All right, we're at the point where we need to start attaching the arms. Remember, we're going to paint all of this first before we do the attachment of the arms, but we can pre-drill the holes. We can see how it's going to go, so let's do that now. You have one of 2 options. You can do the regular arms down, so it'll be like this, arms down. You'll put it right there like this, or you can do the arm like this, curved. So this one's probably going to be holding something right over here. So you could do 2 of these, or you can do both arms down. The measurements are the same. So the arms are 24 inches. So we've cut this to 12 inches, this to 12 inches, and we've used a 90-degree 4-inch elbow. So it's the same thing. You would just have to cut it in half or just keep it as 24. So we need to pre-drill a hole right here because we're going to put a PVC pipe through there. We need to drill the same hole here. It needs to be straight across. So let's start doing that. As a reminder, we need to divide the Sono tube into 3 different areas. that's going to represent the hat, the face, and the chest / torso. So let me show you that real quick. All right, so remember, this Sono tube is 48 inches. So the first 12 inches is going to be the hat. The next 12 inches is going to be the face. And the final 24 inches is going to be the torso / chest. So make sure that you remember that, because the arms need to go at the 24-inch mark. So if you're measuring from the bottom, measure up 24 inches. And right there, this is going to go right there. So basically, that's the shoulder area. You're going to put it like this. So you need to drill here, and you need to drill here so that our PVC pipe can go through. This is a 3/4 inch PVC pipe that's been cut to 20 inches. We're going to use a drill bit spade. We're going to drill a 3/4 inch hole here, and then on the other side, right the opposite. Then we're going to drill one on the inside of the arm and the inside of the other arm. We're not going to go through to the outside of the arm. So just like that, so it can go inside just like this. And let's get to it. Super simple. All right, so we have our 3/4 inch, 20-inch long PVC pipe, and we're going to be using a 1 1/8 drill bit. This is a Spade drill bit. And we marked it right here. Remember, we marked it at 24 inches, but we're not going to drill it right there. In fact, we're using that just as a guide. We're going to go down 2 inches, and that is where we're going to drill. So at the 2-inch mark is where you drill your hole, because we're going to be doing the same thing for the arm. When it comes to the arm, we're not going to be drilling right here on the top. We're going to go down 2 inches, measure down 2 inches, and then drill inside. Remember, we're only drilling on the inside of this, so it can go just like that. See? Bam. So let's start drilling. All right, now we need to put a PVC pipe through this to hold up the arms. And then this is going to go right in here. Let me show you. And then we get our arm and we put it in there so it holds up just like this. See? And if you don't want this arm to come off after you've assembled it, we're just going to put a simple screw right in here, okay? Right in there, a screw, and a screw on the other side once we put the other PVC inside. And that way, it won't fall off or anything like that. This area is going to be covered with something. We haven't figured that out yet, but it always has some type of cover on here just to hide all of this. And that's it. Now we get to paint everything with the colors that we want before we assemble this to make it super easy. To begin painting our pumpkin nutcracker, we're going to paint this top here black, this part here orange, and then this part here black. So I've divided it with tape. I didn't have painter's tape, so I'm just using regular tape. And once it dries, I'm just going to remove this tape and paint this part orange. This will be the face. After we paint this orange, we're going to hand draw a face using a marker. It should be super simple, and then we're going to add embellishments to the entire nutcracker. So for the hands, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm using a plastic Christmas ball right over here. And it's just peeping out from underneath the supposed sleeve. And if we come up here, all we did was use a piece of cord. We have a screw right in there, and then we tied it up. We put the cord through, and then we attached it to the plastic Christmas ball. So remember, we could put a screw right over here, just like we did here, right over here, to prevent this from coming out, right? You can do that to prevent it from coming out if you so choose. I don't always put a screw there. I normally just put a screw here, but just to keep it a little bit more secure, you can put a screw right there. And here are just some of the details that we did. We did the plastic bats. We did this fake emerald, some little plastic pumpkins, some gold cord, and of course, this right over here in the middle. Just so you could see some of the details that we did. And of course, we ended up using these foam pumpkins right up here for the top of the shoulders. You can do that. Makes it look really cute. And for the divide, remember we painted this black and this orange. I used, again, plastic bats just for an added detail, and we used some gold ribbon just to cover the divide between the two colors, and I think it gives it a nice detail. So one of the final things we need to do in order to secure this is to put screws through this area right over here. Remember, we put 2x4s on the inside on either side, so we'll move the arm out of the way, and then we'll put 2 or even 3 screws right up here. Use a washer so it can help grab it more, and then bam, and then just spray paint it or paint it black. You won't be able to see it, and then this will be solidified. It'll be standing tall and won't topple over. What about now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
This one is much better.
Okay, let's try this again. Okay, stop looking at me. I can't.
I'm not looking at you.
It's fine if you look at me. Okay. Okay, we got this.
I could do much better, you know.